Hey, friends, welcome to week 12. This is my final week of my 90-day YouTube challenge. And if you've caught the other videos, you know that this was the last week I had. This challenge, just to remind you, so you know what I've been through, is to um, either get monetized or double your income. And this was a challenge that was put on by the creators of the course, YouTube. If you're over the age 40, which I've always included in my playlist here. If I haven't, let me know and I'll get it in the comments. But this is the final week. This has been a great challenge and a great way to get started on a YouTube challenge. I also asked you viewers if you wanted to join in on any kind of other kind of challenge. You can kind of apply some of the mindset tools that I've used while trying to get through these 12 weeks. Now, spoiler alert, I did not get monetized, so there was never any chance of me doubling my income at that point. But I'm not letting that stop me. This challenge for me was never about a go no go outcome. So if I didn't get monetized, that was it for YouTube. Not at all. I knew this was a great way, as a lot of great big goals can be, to get me started on this journey. Sometimes like a kickoff can really do the trick to get me started. So what I have been doing in these videos, and if you've been watching, I hope you subscribed. This is a reminder to do so now. That's one thing I've improved on, reminding people to do so. But I always celebrate my wins. So I want to start there because I've already given you the other news that I'm not monetized. You can stop watching now, but keep going. Let's figure out how I got there. So the wins that I do have are that, and I'm going to run through the kind of these were the set points of the challenge as well. So they wanted us to try batch recording 4 videos in one go, and I definitely did that. I do try to batch record, but I have found the cadence of 4 in one go just hasn't really fit my life right now. I work full time, as you may have learned from these videos. And so I found trying to do 4 in one go on like a Saturday or Sunday just turned out to be a little bit much for me to have the scripts or my notes ready and have time for an idea to really gel. So I haven't done that, but I have reached a rhythm that I think really works. And it keeps my videos sounding fresh and lively, I think, and gives me the time I need to kind of gel and flesh out an idea before I hit record. So the other one was to try some viral video formats. And those are the kind that you might notice other people in your niche using that suddenly took off for them. And so I did experiment with some of those. I've got a playlist called the 50 over mindset. And I think there's a couple other ideas I have in that vein. I didn't do the full 8 that they suggested just because that didn't necessarily come up for me, but I think it's a good idea. And I'm definitely going to try some more of those. The other suggestion was to do 25% longer on your videos. And so that I have definitely sustained. 8 minutes is the amount of time for a YouTube video before you can attract advertisers. And so that's always been my goal, is to hit that at least 8 minutes just to get into the practice of that. And so I have increased that by 25% for most of these videos. So that was a definite win. The other one was to make an investment in your channel and then do a video about that. Now, I did make some investments in my channel in the sense I spent money on some equipment to use for my YouTube channel, but I didn't do it in the way necessarily in the spirit of what the content creators had in mind, which was to make an investment and then like do a review on that. I'm still thinking about what that would look like for my niche, but I'm definitely going to add that to my list of possibilities. And then the other one was to make the most of your opportunities. So, in the sense that if you found yourself in a great space in your niche where you could kind of strike while the iron's hot, to try to make videos about that. And for example, the people that run the course do a travel course, and they found that for whatever reason, they were the first people on a certain cruise. And they were able to do a whole lot of content creation and put those videos out there before any of the other people in their kind of niche did that. In my case, I work at a federally adjacent entity. And because there's been a lot in the news and a lot happening about federal agencies and people and jobs being laid off, I did a small series to capture that going on. And in the middle of that series, we actually had 114 people laid off. So it was very timely. It was an interesting experience to do because it was really close to home. And that's something that was definitely what I thought was an opportunity. Let me think about some coaching tips that I could give people in that situation, which happens to be me as well. So that was one it was kind of interesting, and to look at opportunity in that way. So I do want to spend just the rest of this video telling you kind of my personal wins beyond that. And that would be, even though I'm not monetized, I now have 26 videos uploaded, edited there. Some of them I've noticed the sound's a bit of a problematic. And if you've left me comments about my sound, I am working on the audio and I certainly appreciate that feedback. So never feel shy about letting me know. I'm just learning from that experience. I have 24 subscribers, and at least I would say over 20 of those I'm not related to, which is great. So I appreciate all subscribers, obviously, but it's nice to know that I've reached out to someone who found my content helpful. And thank you so much for everybody that's commented. That's certainly encouraging, and it's just so great to like start that kind of community engagement. So thank you. I also found that it just gave me a lot of practice with the filming, practice with the editing, practice with the uploading, all things. It also informed some of my processes. So I now have a checklist that I do before I start filming, because you may remember that I filmed an entire day of video batching without the audio on. So yeah, that may have been what put me off the video batch recording. But anyway, it's been great. It's really given me lots of data to incorporate as I go forward. And the third one, and maybe the most important, is my confidence level of talking to the back of my phone, which I'm sitting here doing, confidence that I'm hopefully reaching people and that I have something worthy to share. That's felt great. I also just feel more confident dealing with the technology and learning all the software. I actually pivoted to using a different kind of editing software. And because of the confidence I had with all the other new things I've had to learn, that felt great. And being over 50, learning new things, I know we get a lot of slack for thinking, hey, you're older, you don't know how to do this technology stuff. And I've surprised myself in that. I mean, I'm certainly not going to be your go-to tech person, but I've been very impressed with myself. And that is a great feeling. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way at all. I feel like it's very hard earned. So I hope if you've been in a challenge, you remember that too, that it can just feel so good to feel proud of yourself. So, a couple of the tools I've used, and I will just pause here again to say if you've been in a challenge or you want to share anything in the comments about which of these tools have struck home for you or what are some mindset things you're doing for challenges, please do share. So, one of the things I've done, and I do this all the time anyway, is kind of a sense of reframing something that happened not in kind of the most pessimistic way. And sometimes that's hard. When people got fired at the place I work, it was pretty hard to turn a Pollyanna kind of outlook on that. But I was able to, because I actually heard back from a couple of those people and realized, like, oh, this can mean different things to people. These people are actually looking at this as an opportunity. And that's kind of what I looked at as failing to get monetized. There's so much good things that came out of this that was really just never the destination, just wasn't as important to me, that outcome. But honestly, trying to use failure, or really just eradicating that word and thinking about it as this is a lesson or this is an opportunity or data that I can use to move forward. And the other thing is just to keep going, even though that is happening. So I'm human. I can find it a little discouraging. I get discouraged, I have doubt, and I sometimes lose steam. And this I have to kind of keep remembering, like, hey, I'm in the challenge, I'm out here doing this for other people, and I want to make sure I don't let them down. I want to get out there and tell them what's happened this week and what I'm doing about it. And so that effort of keeping going and following through, I don't know if that's necessarily a tool, but it's something that if we don't do that reframing, we can kind of get lost in a spin, or at least I can. And I have definitely spun out a couple times here, don't get me wrong. And then, just what's been interesting too is I've shared with you that I have a weekly coaching session with a business coach and life coach. And where I might have missed some of my wins or might have, been feeling kind of spun out and discouraged, I had a coach there that I could talk to every Sunday. So I got to speak to her this morning. Today's Sunday today. And it's just so nice to have someone else be able to be like, yeah, Aaron, you did great. Like your channel's got so many videos and you've obviously reached people. And so this is just a little plug for not only self-coaching tools, but if you have the resources to, I can't, recommend a coach more. It's just a great idea for accountability, for mirroring things, and like digging out the things that you're still working on. So, plug to Karen. Again, Karen's details are in my description, so be sure to check her out. So, what's next? So, luckily, Rob and Allie, the course creators, have come up with other challenges. They're not going to let us alone here in the community. They're going to keep us going, and that's fantastic. But I think I'll probably just keep going at the rate I am. We're going to have some new challenges, some new additions, and I have really found this helpful and it's kept me on task. It's also kind of meta, right? So here's an opportunity to film a, themed video every week of something that's occurring to me right now. And so another win for doing the opportunity. Anyway, if you've been following, I really appreciate it. I hope you found these tools helpful. If you're in a challenge or hey, if the community wants to try another challenge together, let me know in the comments and we'll think of something. But until next video, which I think will be under my 50 plus mindset playlist, so be sure to check it out. Thank you again for all the encouragement, and I appreciate your support.